Howdy, I'm Karen from Round Table Yarns, and today I'm going to show you how to do a brioche decrease where you have 5 stitches and decrease down to 1. This is commonly abbreviated as br4st DEC, so brioche 4-stitch decrease. To work this decrease, you're going to need something that will hold a stitch that is going to be off the needles. My favorite tool to use is a locking stitch marker like this, although you can use a cable needle or anything else, but this really is the easiest way I have found to work this decrease. So keep that to the side, and we are going to be going from 5 stitches down to 1. So remember with brioche that this wrapped stitch is really 1 stitch. So that is 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 stitches we are going to decrease down to 1 stitch. So to do that, the first stitch you're going to slip knitwise. So insert your needle knitwise and slip it from your left needle to your right needle. Then you're going to slip the second stitch knitwise as well. So insert your needle knitwise, slip from your left needle to your right needle. Then this is where that locking stitch marker comes into play. So I'm going to take it, and this third stitch, so it is a brioche stitch, so don't forget the wrap, you're going to put that stitch onto your locking stitch marker. So get the stitch marker in there, pull that stitch off the needle, and since it's a locking stitch marker, keep it safe by going ahead and closing it. Then you're going to come and knit the next stitch on your left hand needle. So you've slipped 2 stitches, you've put that third stitch on your locking stitch marker, and now you're going to knit this 4th stitch. So knit that. Then take the second stitch that you had slipped, so this will be a single stitch. Take that stitch and pass it over the stitch you just knit. Then you are going to take that stitch and move it from your right needle back to your left needle. Okay. Then this final stitch, stitch number 5 that we have not yet touched, you're going to pass that stitch over this stitch that you've just put back on this needle. You're going to move this stitch back to the right hand needle, pass this stitch that you had first slipped over that stitch. Then you are going to take your needle, your stitch that you put on the cable needle or your locking stitch marker, and you're going to put it back on your left hand needle. So go ahead and open up the locking stitch marker. Do not twist this stitch. Put it back on the needle exactly as it originally came. And you can set that aside. Take this stitch over here that's on the right hand needle, put it back on your left hand needle, and pass that stitch that you just put back on from that locking stitch marker over that stitch. And then this stitch is now done. Move it from the left needle to the right needle, and you have completed your decrease. Okay, here's the increase or the decrease again. 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the 5 that we are going to work in this decrease. First stitch, slip knitwise from the left needle to the right needle. Second stitch, slip knitwise from the left needle to the right needle. Third stitch is going to go onto that locking stitch marker. Make sure you do not twist this, so you can insert your stitch marker purlwise. Take that off the needle and close up that lock just to keep that stitch safe. Now you're going to start knitting and passing slip stitches. So this was the 4th stitch. Knit that stitch. Then the second stitch, it's going to get buried a little bit, so you're going to need to find it. It's going to be a single stitch, no brioche hood. You want to take that stitch and pass it over the one you just knit. Then take that stitch from your right hand needle back to your left hand needle. Make sure you do not twist this stitch. Then this fifth stitch that has not been worked yet, you're going to take it, so remember this is one stitch, this pair, and pass it over that stitch on your needle. Then this stitch goes back to your right hand needle. Basically this stitch does a lot of moving back and forth. And then that very first stitch that you had slipped, you want to take it and pass that over the stitch there. Then we come to the stitch that you had saved on your locking stitch marker. Unlock it. Put it back on the needle. Make sure you do not twist it. Set the stitch marker aside. Take this stitch. This is the one that has been having stitches passed over it. It needs to go back over to your left hand needle. Then the stitch that was on that locking stitch marker, you pass that over this stitch, and now your increase is done. You can move that stitch to your right hand needle. It has been worked. There is your decrease, and you can continue on with your brioche pattern. So this is just regular brioching to the end of the row. So there you go. There is your decrease right there where we had 5 stitches and we decreased all the way down to this one stitch that is remaining. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, you can contact me on Ravelry. I am Karen Dawn, or you can find me on roundtableyarns.com. Thanks and happy knitting.